All right, game over. It's about damn time, I think. Apart from, I think that 10-minute patch in the third quarter, which, let's talk about it for a little bit. So, it didn't look like we were going to get an easy goal at any point in that second half. I think we all dropped our heads at half time. Obviously, something was said in the change rooms, and the guys, to their credit, they came out and they fought better in the third quarter. Unfortunately, the damage was done to such a high degree, in the first half that anything that really happened in the second half was just a bit of a consolation. Hawthorn, I mean, naturally and rightly so, probably took the foot off the pedal a little bit. So I don't know how much credit you want to give us or how much you want to look at the fact that Hawthorn dropped off a little bit. But the reality is we did see some more glimpses in that third quarter. It was good to see guys like Paulson kick his first goal. Cripps kicked a really, really good goal in the third quarter thereafter, getting the ball in the defensive 50 and winning a free kick and then running the entire length of the field just to kick his goal. So that was pleasing to see. The skill errors were still there. They weren't as bad as what they were in the first half. But yeah, I don't know how you can really address it. I mean, you can train skills. So the question is, what's going on at training? Why are the players still kicking the ball in the wrong spot for the player that they're trying to kick to, and why are handballs not hitting targets? And I don't know. Footy's a very instinctive game. It's very quick. You got to make a decision really quickly, and we just haven't been able to make the right decision quick enough at the best of times this season. And so, that's how it is. Some good numbers from some players, and we'll go through them in a moment. But I think what we'll find is, some of these numbers could be a little bit inflated because we didn't use the ball well. And that combined with the fact that we defended pretty poorly and we gave up 124 points. And there were quite a few misses there from the Hawks that could and probably should have been goals. So the scoreboard... 70, what is it in the end? 72 points. I reckon the scoreboard flattered us a little bit. I think it was much worse than that. But look, we'll take it. Hopefully Fisher and Jones are not too banged up. Fisher it looked like an ankle, but he didn't really cop too hard of a knock. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens there. And Jones, to be quite honest, probably wasn't playing very well before he got injured anyway. And he, I'm not going to say it's a positive that he was injured, but he just, I don't know, even the way he flew for that ball, you've got to communicate. Why are you flying for that ball when Simo's there? And, it's an error on his behalf, it's an error on Simo's behalf. But it is what it is. Hopefully he's okay and he's ready to go next week. Kudos to Tom Mitchell, 46 touches and 2 goals. He's a superstar. If that doesn't get you 3 votes, I don't know what will. And he for me, was the best player on the ground by far. So, the talk is going to be about, why didn't we match up on him and the whole, what damage does he do with the footy? I actually think he does as much damage as he possibly could. I think because he doesn't have... I think a few years ago, when Ablett was at the peak of his game and when he was getting 40, people were like, you just can't let Ablett get 40. He had a very strong reputation behind him. I think Tom Mitchell suffers a little bit from that. Actually, it probably works in his favour, and that's probably why teams don't put as much of an effort into him as what they would a Gary Ablett or a Chris Judd in their prime. I think Mitchell isn't such a household name where he's commanded that respect. That could change from next year and beyond. I don't know, but the reality is he's had, I think it's 9 games this season with more than 40 possessions. So, he's a freak. He's an absolute freak. All right, let's go through the side and give them some ratings. So in our back line, Simo, Wiedering and Shaw. Simo, for me, I gave him a 6. I thought he didn't use the ball very well today. He obviously kicked a goal and he's had 20 touches, but definitely didn't use the ball as well as what we need him to. I think especially in that first quarter when a lot of the damage was done, he had a few fumbles, a few possessions that didn't quite go where they should have. So I gave him a 6. Wiedering, I thought that was one of his better games of the year. Having said that, he still has this he's developed this ability to get caught holding the ball, and he looks slow at times and not so quick and sharp. So I gave him an 8. I want to give him some credit. He fought really well. 23 touches as a defender is pretty good. He took 8 marks, and he looked a lot more poised. But it was still marred with a few mistakes, which I hope he can clean up moving forward and hopefully get a good patch of form going before the season ends. So I gave him an 8. And Matt Shaw, didn't really. The stats will say 21 touches. I didn't see him have a lot of effect. But having said that, we've had guys like Mullet and O'Shea playing in that position, and we've been critical of them. So I think he did better than what they have done. I gave him a 4. I think I should probably give him a 5. I think that's a little bit harsh. I've just had a look at the stats now. As I've said throughout the year, I don't look too much into the stats during the game. I try to just judge it on its merit. And I look at the stats now, and 21 touches isn't a bad effort for him. So I'll give him a 5. I'll be nice and upgrade him. We've got Jack, Liam Jones, and Ed Curnow. Jack Silvani, it's been a bit disappointing to see how we've chopped and changed his role this year. I don't think he's at a point in his career where we can really do that. I thought he was good today at times. 18 touches is a great return for the kid. Had a few skill errors. I gave him a 6. Liam Jones, he went off in the second quarter, and so I don't know if you can really rate him. He was on track for a 4 for me. I didn't think he played very well today. I thought, when he gambles, it's all fine and well when it comes off, but when he takes these gambles and it doesn't pay off, it just looks really bad. So he needs to, again, get that balance. He's got, another year in him, I think, before we start saying, this experiment hasn't worked. So he's had really good games as a defender. He's had really poor games as a defender. I thought today wasn't his best game, but you can't really rate him because he didn't finish the game. But when the game was there to be won, and when we were still in the contest, even though that wasn't for long, I thought he let us down a little bit. Ed Curnow, I thought he did really well today, considering he tagged Isaac Smith and beat him, I thought. He had 20 touches and he nearly kicked a goal at the end there. But it wasn't to be. Isaac Smith finished off with 18. Probably finished a little bit more stronger than what I had seen throughout the game. So, Ed gets an 8 from me. He battled hard, he tackled, and did what he usually does. Moving on, in the centre line, Caleb Marchbank, Cripps, and Samo. Marchbank, early on, he's still suffering from a lack of match fitness. He just didn't look as sharp as what he has throughout the season, or throughout his career, I should say. I think towards the second half onwards, he got a little bit better. Hopefully next week he's got his touch back and he starts taking these marks that we've known and we've grown accustomed to him taking. So I gave Caleb a 5, unfortunately. Cripps was Cripps. Copped a horrific knock or a punch to the jaw in the first quarter from Daniel Howe, which will probably land him a week or two, I would have hoped, and I would have thought so. And I thought Cripps wasn't right from the second quarter onwards, but he battled willingly in that second half. I'm not sure what he had in that second half, but he finished with 30 touches and 2 goals, which is that's incredible. 7 tackles, did his work on the inside, moved to the outside a bit too. So he was really good. I'm going to give him a 9, just based on what happened early in the game and how he was almost a non-factor for us. And then all of a sudden he just burst out in the third quarter and really got us going. So he gets a 9, and we love him. We love the way he battles for us. Samo, I don't know about this one, because we had him matched up on Tom Mitchell in the first half, and obviously that didn't work very well. He's had 19 touches, 3 marks, 3 tackles, which is good for what we want from him. Unfortunately, the defensive side of the game wasn't great. He did work hard. He did work hard. He did run hard. So I want to give him credit there. I think we probably judge him a little harshly because of the talent that he does have, and I think we've been waiting for Samo to have a real hot patch with his form, kick goals, show some of this flair. I thought he was good today. I didn't think he was bad, but I think, obviously some of the defensive work on Tom Mitchell was really poor, to be quite frank. So for him, I gave him a 6. I battled between a 6 and a 7, but I think ultimately with the defensive side of things, I thought it was pretty poor. So a 6 for Samo. Half forward line, Cam Paulson, Charlie Curnow and Zach Fisher. I thought that was Cam Paulson's best game for the club. 15 touches and he kicked a miraculous goal. It was good to see. I mean, as I've been saying for the last few weeks, he's a midfielder. I know we've drafted him and he's a young kid and whatnot, and you've got to give him time. And I understand that, but when you're getting 7 touches, 3 touches, 4 touches in a game, it's just not good enough for a midfielder, and it just hurts the team too much. So I thought he got some reward for effort. I thought he always sprints and attacks and defends really well. He can turn the ball over at times, and he did that a little bit today. But again, I thought he was pretty good, and I want to give him some credit. So I'm going to give him a 7. Charlie wasn't a great game for him. I mean, the supply in the first half was shocking, and I mean, any time we really kick it to him, it's not a very good kick. But he battled. He wasn't poor today, so I'll give him a 6. Zach Fisher unfortunately went down in the first quarter. That's a bad loss for us. He's someone that we need to get games into and develop, and he was having a really good game. He had 9 touches in the first quarter, and I mean he was playing really well. It's really unfortunate. I'm not really going to give him a grade, but I mean, it looked really good early. So hopefully he's okay. Hopefully it's just an ankle and not anything more serious. Dwayne Russell and Kingy were talking about potentially a cracked fibula, and that would be a disaster. So I got my fingers crossed for Zachy boy there. Forward line, Levi Casbolt, Harry Mackay and Jared Pickett. Levi, he competed, took a few marks around the ground. Probably wasn't his best game. The question marks will start coming for him very soon. So we'll see how that one plays out. I'll give him a 5 in the end. I thought he was, ultimately poor. He's had 5 touches. It didn't really impact the contest. I know that he does a lot of, those 1%ers as a forward in bringing the ball to the ground and all of that. But, 5 possessions just isn't going to get it done. So that's how I saw him. I think Harry was okay. I think he looked good early on. He took some strong marks around the ground. He presented well. His kicking was shocking today, so that was a real disappointment, and he let himself down a little bit. I'll give him a 6. Still a young kid, obviously, but I mean, by no means do I want him to be dropped. He needs to stay in the side. Pickett, he had that burst of pace in the second half. I think it was in the fourth quarter in the end. So, the question is, where is that early in the game? That's what we want to see him do, more often. Take the game on. That's what we've brought him into the side for. And those are the flashes of brilliance that he shows that we really need to see more of. So I gave him a 4 in the end. I thought he had a pretty poor game. I mean, he's had 12 touches. He's not a guy that gets a lot of possessions, but yeah, look, he had a bit of a knock as well. I mean, it's a 4, but I still want to keep him in the side. He's definitely one that I want to persist with. I think the potential for him and what he can do for our group is worth having him in the side. The followers, Matthew Lobe, Mark Murphy, Matt Kennedy. Lobe was good today. I mean, you've got to remember he hasn't played all season. He's been there as a backup and really a VFL player. So you can't knock the effort that he gave. I thought he did relatively well. Competed in the air, provided a contest. He just wasn't beaten. So for me, that was a positive. I'm going to give him a 7. Murph was good. 35 touches. Probably didn't use the ball as well as what we know he can. I think he's back to full fitness, which is great for us, and we need to get him through to the end of the season with hopefully no more injuries. I think next week we'll see a much better Mark Murphy in terms of the way he uses the ball. On the one hand, I'm thinking he's fully match fit now and had a few possessions there that let himself down and he let the team down with, particularly in that second half. But yeah, I mean, hopefully he can get the disposal efficiency where it needs to be. And when he has 35 touches, usually they're good. They're really damaging. So I'm pleased. I'll give him an 8. I thought he competed well. He flew the flag for Cripps when Howe punched him in the mouth, in the jaw, and that was good. Want to see him tackle a little bit more. Obviously, he's a small frame, but as captain, you need to be much more physically imposing than what he is. So Murph gets an 8, and Kennedy, he's an interesting one. He has this ability to turn the ball over, and he's just scrappy, and it disappoints me a lot with the way that he uses the ball, and he just could be a little bit more poised. That'll come with time, but overall I was pleased with his game. I'm going to give him an 8. He had 29 touches and he kicked a goal, and that's certainly above what we expect from him. He definitely kept going as the game wore on. Obviously, there's an argument to be made that the Hawks took the foot off the pedal a little bit there, but I thought he was good for us, so I'll give him an 8. The interchange bench: Paddy Dow, Lockie O'Brien, Nick Graham, and Matt Wright. Paddy Dow, it was an okay game. Again, he and Lockie O'Brien probably just get a pass mark for the rest of the season. The bar isn't set too high for them, so I just want to get him through to the end of the season. 14 touches. He had moments, but nothing too special. I actually thought O'Brien was much better. I thought O'Brien had some good flashes along that wing, and I think he's going to be our guy on the wing, sort of like our Andrew Gaff, in time. I think he's got a little bit of mongrel in him, Lockie O'Brien, so I was really pleased to see that. So I gave Lockie a 6, and I gave Paddy Dow 5. But again, you don't want to rate them. You don't want to rate them too harshly. So that's how I saw that. Nick Graham and Matt Wright. Nick Graham, he was okay. He was okay. He had 23 touches. He didn't turn the ball over shockingly as what he has in the past. Does he keep his spot on the side? That's a tough one. I'll think about it. I'll let the dust settle and I'll think about it. But I didn't think he was too bad. I gave him a 6, and Matt Wright, 18 touches and a goal. I don't know. It didn't feel like he had 18 touches. I don't know. I've been a bit harsh on him this season because I expect a little bit more. I thought he started the game poorly, and when the game was sort of dead and buried, that's when he came into it a little bit. So how much I want to read into that, I'm not really sure. But I gave him a 5. Not his worst game. Certainly not his worst game. And obviously, I've talked about when he's not playing as a forward, that he needs to impact the contest, win some footy for us. So yeah, another 12-goal loss. Obviously can't be happy with that, but at least we saw something in that second half, with some effort. I don't think we could have gone we can't really go a full game this year with what we saw in that first half. We just can't roll over like that. It's important for the group. It's important for our development, because obviously in that second half we have things that we can maybe look at during the week. The boys will watch some film and understand that, okay, this is something that I've done that's for the betterment of the team. This is something that we can develop. But when you have a performance like what we did in the first half, you can't watch footage of that and learn or be excited. So we really need to find a way to just take something out of every quarter. We can't have a good quarter and a bad quarter, and we've got to find a way to have a patch in each quarter. I understand that the way that the team is built right now and the team that's playing right now, I understand that we're going to be out of games for a long period of time. I get that, but again, there needs to be something in every 10 or 15 minute patch of the game that we can hold our hat on and develop from there. So that's it. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next week.